Good morning. It's Saturday, January 24th, 2026. This is Robert Sin at CO Technician on X, Goldfinger on CO.ca, and you're watching Goldfinger Capital. What a week it was. Look at this gold chart, the last four trading sessions, marching higher, basically right at $5,000 an ounce, closed right on the round number level. The daily RSI is above 80, but it has gotten above 80 many times during the 2025 and now 2026 rallies, and it has regularly had a correction, sometimes only for 2 or 3 days, sometimes for 2 or 3 weeks. It served to reset momentum and sentiment, and then it continued higher. So this is just more of the same bull market action. No sense in trying to call the top here at all. Either just hold long, hold strong, or buy a dip. That's pretty much how you play a bull market. Silver, a little more a little more excessive to the upside, up 7% on Friday. And obviously there's a notion, well, it's more than a notion, it's a trend at this point, that the gold silver ratio is heading probably down to 40 or maybe even to 30 in 2026, right? So if gold is heading to 6,000, let's say by year end, could silver hit 150 or 200? It's possible. I mean, these are from where we've been, right? From where we are anchored, the price anchoring that precious metals investors and traders have had. To think about $200 silver is insane, but we're living in an insane world. So I don't think it's out of the question. I know some people have it as their base case that we're going to 200 or maybe even 300. But we just don't know. Nobody knows how high a market can go when it's in a running bull market like this. And it's foolish to come up with price targets. The best you can really do is come up with a range based upon some data of where we might be headed, right? And sort of my upside target has been 150 for silver, but I didn't think we would reach it, in 2026. I figured it would be a 2027 or 2028 thing, right? But who cares? Like, just hold long and stick with the trend. Copper is the one that cooled off last week, right? So of the big three metals, I mean, I think of gold, silver, and copper as the big three metals. Obviously, copper is not a precious metal, although Jim Cramer might say it's a precious metal now, which he did on X last week. I think copper is the second or third most important, metal, out there. I think gold is obviously number one. I think copper and silver are in competition for number two. Copper absolutely touches all human lives every day, every day, maybe even 200 times a day for some people. So it's interesting to see that pullback, and I think it's a buying opportunity, just another buying opportunity in the context of a bull market uptrend, having a little bit of resistance around that key $6 level, but that's natural. I do want to mention treasury yields, because while I don't think the gold, silver, copper bull markets are anything new at this point to anybody, especially watching this video, the next shoe to drop, the next new trade, something I haven't talked about in some time, I believe may be to short U.S. treasuries. And so yields going up, treasury prices going lower. This was a breakout that occurred at the beginning of last week, actually at the very end of the week prior on a Friday. And then yields came back down, right? And we could, why did yields sell off a little bit after the breakout? Well, very often you get a breakout and then you get a retest of the breakout level, right? The former, key resistance level. We have to retest it, and then you scream higher. Like we could see the 10-year above 4.4% yield in the next couple of weeks, right? And so I like the short, U.S. Treasury bond trade here. And why do I like it? Well, the transition from US dollar as the reserve currency world that we've been living in for over 50 years to a multipolar world where suddenly sovereigns diversify further away from treasuries and we get more deglobalization. Everybody's putting up walls and building their own fortress. Well, that's a more expensive world to live in with higher degree of friction. Friction means cost, means time and money, right? So a higher friction world with lower trust means higher gold and silver, higher copper, higher metals, and higher inflation and higher treasury yields, right? That's how I see it. And a lower dollar, right? As the dollar loses its preeminent role as the reserve currency, it has to be worth less compared to certainly precious metals, but also maybe to other currencies as well, like the Chinese yuan, the euro. We've already seen a trend higher in the euro dollar pair. And then this dollar action last week. Wow. But look at that sell off in the US dollar yen pair. So the rumor is that the Fed was selling dollars to buy yen on Friday. So they're stepping in at 159, just ahead of the 160 level in the dollar yen pair to try to stem the bleeding in the yen. Like the JGB yields just up, up, up and away. JGB yields should lift the treasury yields. I mean, at this point, it's getting to that level where things are starting to get unglued, right? And I'm not going to talk politics, but obviously, what's going on in the world today with world leaders, we saw at Davos, we saw the friction, we saw the animosity, we saw the tension. Clearly, people not seeing eye to eye. This is a world with rising friction and declining trust. And that's how to view it. Just keep it simple, stupid. Don't make it too complicated. Look, obviously, yeah, I mean, and Trump's going to run it hot in 2026, right? Like their whole thing is to run this thing super hot. The economy has to be a high octane economy, right? This administration, their only chance to really hold ground in the midterms is to have a very robust economy where people are not feeling like they can't get a job or they can't get a job that pays enough for them to have a decent quality of life, right? So that's higher inflation, that's higher yields, that's higher growth. That's how I see it. Okay, so I'm going to keep this short and sweet, and stick around to tune in for the next video, my presentation from the Metals Investor Forum in Vancouver, Canada. Thanks for being a subscriber. Thanks for tuning in, and have a peaceful weekend.